In this module, we'll be talking about women's movement in pre-partition Indo-Pakistan subcontinent. The struggle for women's rights in this region has a long history, a long past. We see that changes had taken place in the US, Europe, and other continents. And we see that here in our country, today, and even before partition, women were struggling for their rights, and they managed to achieve their rights after a struggle of many years, decades, and maybe a century. The struggle for women's rights and the women's movement in this subcontinent pre-partition can be seen into three phases. The first phase is when colonization had taken place, colonialism. The second phase was the phase of education reforms movement, when there was a struggle for women's educational rights. And thirdly, rise of anti-colonial nationalist movements in India, that is, when people in this subcontinent were struggling for their freedom. By 1790, we see that the legal system in India had been anglicized. The British touch was there. However, many things remained untouched also. Personal laws of different religions of India were retained. No changes on those laws were made. Some of those laws, the customary and religious laws that subordinated women, were there and they were kept intact. So, we can see that women's rights were restricted. The Muslim Personal Law of 1937 recognized the right of Muslim women to inherit property, with the exception of agricultural land. But due to some reasons, it was not implemented as such. The traditional educational system was being replaced by the British educational system, but there was resistance against that. Leaders like Sir Syed Ahmad Khan were struggling for the cause of modern education for Muslims, but that was primarily for Muslim men. The modern education, the modern scientific education or science and liberal subjects for women, that was an area which was disputed. Mixed reactions for women's education were there. In 1886, the annual meeting of the MEC, that is, Mohammedan Educational Conference, was held. The women question was for the first time raised by men. In 1899, Women's Teacher Training College was founded in Calcutta. And then we can see that women's educational reforms were going to take place gradually. In 1915, the Begum of Bhopal inaugurated the girls' school building and laid foundation stone of girls' hostel in Aligarh. She contributed to the syllabus and curricula for girls' education, and she also proposed that girls should be taught home sciences. And we can see that before reaching to a stage where women were to study physics and chemistry or medicine, there was a stage, an earlier stage, where they were going to open doors into educational field, starting from home sciences. In 1885, Anjuman-e-Hamayat-e-Islam opened 5 girls' elementary schools in Lahore. 1903, Chand Begum, a famous development, wrote a paper favoring women's education for the annual meeting of the MEC in Bombay. Because of her Parda situation, she did not present it herself, and some other Parsi lady was requested to present the paper in her place. 1903, resolution was passed in Mohammedan Educational Congress Conference for establishment of normal schools for female teachers, and such school was opened in 1913 at Aligarh. In 1904, prominent figures like Maulana Altaf Hussain Hali started supporting the women's education cause. And this is when this movement got strength. In 1914, the first women's journal Khatoon was published by Sheikh Abdullah. Hukuk-e-Niswa, paper for women's rights started by Sayyid Mumtaz Ali and his wife, and was later called Rahbar-e-Niswan. From 1904 to 1911, girls' schools, many schools, were opened in Lahore, Karachi, Bombay, Calcutta, Aligarh and Patna. In Lahore, newspapers like Akhbar-e-Niswan, Sharif Bibi and Tehzeeb-e-Niswan were published. There was increased popularity of women's education by now. In 1922, Sultan Begum was the first woman to receive a master's degree in law, which was a big achievement for women in the subcontinent. A number of milestone events took place after that, very rapidly. Women were promoting the cause of women's education. There was debate and activity for women's rights that began everywhere. In 1908, for the promotion of the rights of Muslim women, Anjuman-e-Khawateen-e-Islam was founded in Lahore. In 1915, first All India Muslim Ladies Conference was held, which was attended by only a few elite class women, but the very significant event had taken place. In 1917, they passed a resolution against polygamy, once again a milestone development. Women demanded for their right to franchise, which was supported by major political parties also. Now women were preparing themselves for taking active part in the political system of the country. In 1921, Madras allowed women's right to vote. In 1925, franchise was allowed in all provinces except Orissa and Bihar, to all propertied persons, whether they were men or women. Once again, a major development had taken place. Some women came more prominently to the political forefront. By that time, Khilafat movement, which was the movement for the restoration of Khilafat in Turkey, that had taken momentum. From 1919 to 1924, this movement had mobilized people, and people involved women also. So women now knew how to talk about their rights, how to raise their voice. B. Amma, the famous character in our political history, who was the mother of the Ali brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali Jauhar and Maulana Shaukat Ali, she addressed the meeting of All India Muslim League in 1970. That was a big achievement for a woman. In 1921, she addressed a large gathering in Lahore. This time, she unveiled herself and she said that all men who were there were just like her brothers and sons, so she could talk to them openly. Then we see that another significant name was that of Begum Jahan Ara Shah Nawaz. She presented a memorandum in the first roundtable conference in 1930-31, which was a major achievement for a woman. In 1932, All India Muslim League supported women's demands. In 1935, the Government of India Act was there. 6 million women were enfranchised. So many women got the right to vote. Reserved seats were allocated for women in the Council of the State as well as the Assembly. This was again a milestone achievement. There was a growing number of women who were participating in the Pakistan movement now, side by side with men. Women's section by that time in the Muslim League was formed because women in a very significant number were contributing to the movement. In the famous 1940 meeting held in Lahore, a huge number of women participated, and they took their men and sisters and children along them. Women became active in street politics now, and they held processions and protests. In 1941, Muslim Girls Students Federation was formed, founded by Lady Abdul Qadir, Fatma Begum and Miss Q. Qureshi. 1942, as a result of Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah's interest, women's committees were formed. In 1943, relief work in famine-hit Bengal was taken over, contributions by Muslim League women. Women's National Guard was formed. In 1943, participation of 5,000 women in the annual session of All India Muslim League in Karachi was a huge success in the history. In 1946, women election participation happened. Begum Salma Tasadduq Hussain and Begum Jahan Asha Nawaz contested from the side of Muslim League. Huge demonstration in Lahore when Muslim League was not allowed to form government. मुस्लिम लीग ने इलेक्शंस जीत लिए लेकिन उनको गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म करने की इजाज़त ना मिली, तो उसके लिए बहुत से मर्दों ख़वातीन जो हैं वो सड़कों पर आ गए और यहाँ पे ख़वातीन की तादाद बहुत काबिले ज़िक्र थी. In 1947, civil disobedience movement was initiated. Muslim women actively participated in that movement. Significant contributions were made by women in Northwestern Frontier Province, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which is worth mentioning. Women during this movement were arrested, tear-gassed, and baton charged. So we see that women had to face atrocities, hardships, but there was no going back. They were moving ahead for freedom, for a new nation, alongside their men. The ground was set for a new nation, for freedom, for a new country, Pakistan. Women had proved to be independent, politically charged, and socially sensitive citizens. So we see that this is how initially women's movement, especially with reference to their education, their independence and freedom, took place in this subcontinent.